factory suspension on the Montesa. Now the high revving 280cc gas of Steve Colley.
3 tires left. Another 2. Another 4 tires.
You can hear Paul Gamble issuing the instructions to Colley. I must ask them why they wanted to go to the left on that particular piece. Ah, I see now, of course. It's because he wants... Oh, Steve suddenly decides he needs to put a foot down to get the bike positioned exactly where he wants it before making the jump. And he does it perfectly, but with that 1 foot down, 1 mark down then for Steve Colley on section 2. He'd be a wee bit disappointed with that, but he wanted that angle to make sure he got across the gap there. Look at Colley, he's so long-legged, he rides half the time on the rear fender. It's a good job it's a very bendy one. OK, Colomé. As Martin Lampkin has pointed out, Mark Colomé has moved up a gear since Dougie joined the Montesa squad because he really has something to prove now. They're on identical bikes. Salvador Garcia, as ever, issuing the military instructions to his man. You can hear the enthusiasm in the audience out there. Now he eases the bike up without resorting to putting his foot down, finds the angle. Salvador always has this loving relationship with the knobbles of a rear tyre. He almost wants them to take off from the bridge of his nose sometimes. Oh, and perhaps he needed to take off from the bridge of his nose. Colomé doesn't make it. Mark Colomé on the Montesa, and Colomé looks round as if he's almost blaming Salva there. He never made it, did he? He just never even reached that point of balance where he could tip the Montesa over the far side and just rolled off. So a serious misjudgment from Colomé suddenly puts him 4 marks adrift of Steve Colley, and potentially 5 marks adrift if this guy Lampkin cleans it. Just listen to Martin's stream of instructions. 25 seconds, and he needed about 2 of them, if that. So, Dougie Lampkin clears section 2, and suddenly he's the clear leader here in Barcelona. Of round 4 of the World Cup Trial Championship here in Barcelona, and it's Steve Colley facing section 3, just 1 point beside the Manxman's name at the moment. And he railroads it up that Jovan blue section, perches on top, steadies himself on the top, rolls down, and powers out. Steve Colley making that one look desperately easy. Section 3, the gas, and Steve Colley clear it. Colley, who's ridden... Oh! Mark Colomé, what did he do? And a great saving dive there from Salvador Garcia. That's what a minder's there for. He saved the bike and the man. I don't think he would have wanted to, though. He seemed to completely lose his way. Look at the way that front wheel just went off, and right off, until there was nowhere else to go but into Salva's arms. So, Colomé, he must be feeling despondent. 2 straight 5s, and suddenly he's 10 marks down, and this man Lampkin's on 0. So Dougie beginning to look like he may have Colley for company rather than Colomé at this stage in proceedings. And the advantage, of course, if you like the pressure and you can lap it up, the advantage of going last is you always know what you need to do. Whoops, daisy, and that's chase your father down quick. Well done, Martin. Hops out of the way fast, leaving his son a clear run down. And out. As simple as that. And suddenly Colomé is trailing by 10 marks, and a rather subdued audience here in Barcelona. And there's Salvador Garcia ticking him off in the foreground. So you wouldn't guess it necessarily from his facial expression while he's out there competing, but the witty, gritty Yorkshireman still with a clean sheet as we move on to section 4. Steve Colley. Oh, Steve's not made it. Oh, he can't believe it. He can't believe that. Look at the tension and annoyance on that face. He just never really got to grips with that at all. That was a sudden 5. Colley getting the malaise off Colomé. Colomé retaliates by getting up. Of course, nothing's lost in trials until the bitter end. There's always the possibility of that sort of unexpected 5 that could suddenly blot somebody's copybook. Oof! And that looked to be fueled by sheer Catalonian anger, didn't it? The man from Olot near Girona just hurls the Montesa out of section 4. Crash. Well, that was like shh or bust, wasn't it, that one? OK, Lampkin nods tersely to the timekeeper as if to say, yes, I'm ready. Get up, says Martin.
Nice, straight that. Perfect. We get to here. Nice. Forget time.
Oh, that'll be the indication for him to railroad out of here in about a second and a half then. Yep, there he goes. And it's a clean for Dougie Lampkin. So Lampkin now has stretched his advantage. He's got 6 marks advantage on Steve Colley and 10 marks advantage on Steve Colomé. What can Colley do about it in section 5? Oh, he made certain of that, didn't he? He wasn't going to have the same thing happen 2 sections in a row. Steve Colley, who's ridden in his time Yamaha, Fantic, Beta, and finally Gas. Rode his first world trial at Winchester, America at the age of 17. So 10 full years on the Grand Prix circuits now. Hard to believe he's a veteran. Oh, and he needed those long legs, didn't he, just to urge the Gas out of that section. Colomé, knowing that he needs more than ever before to keep clean sheets if he's going to have any chance of retaliating here tonight. Look at the size of this Palau Saint-Jordi, which named after the 7 times world champion Jordi Taras. At least I presume it is. And out goes Marc Colomé, his one-time protege, and briefly his successor. Jordi Taras, of course, 7 times world champion. The man whose record this man, Douglas Lampkin, is aiming at. He's won 3 so far. That's outdoors, of course. He's also won 3 indoors. And prior to that, the FIM prize, as it was called, went to Marc Colomé 3 times on the trot as well. So it's certainly a pair of talented rivals. Make sure, says Martin, and Dougie duly does. Beautifully done. Just the absolute takes it as throws that front wheel up just to absolute perfection as far as he can go without it keeling over backwards on him. There's a nice portrait shot. Oh, and that's a 5 straight away on the dreaded section 6. And that really is a toughie. Section 6, the only person to get up there on the first lap was Marc Colomé, and we've just seen the first lap fate awaits Steve Colley. So Colley drops another 5 on section 6, and this is the only man who's cleaned it so far tonight. Can he do it again? This would be some time to do it if he could. And look at that, after the problems he's been having. Well, he's done half of it so far. Steve Colley's already measuring up section 7, and behind him, he's ignoring the fact that Marc Colomé's got to go back across. Oh, and he's going to do it across section 6. Wow! And he was in a hurry then, wasn't he? Almost destroyed that ridiculously placed banner, but gets away with it and survives. A thoughtful-looking Marc Colomé. You wouldn't have thought he'd just done that, would you? Oof. Brilliant. So he now goes to inspect section 7, probably deciding to ignore what this man Dougie Lampkin is about to do. Probably probably secretly hoping he's going to end up in a heap. Now, Lampkin does know this is a crucial section. Wow, listen to the grunt in that 250cc Honda engine. The Lampkin team are really thrilled with the amount of low-down power that this Honda engine has. Half a minute left for Lampkin to go back over. And he drops a precautionary foot. Plenty of time, and that's a signal, of course, for him to bob straight down and out. 1 mark down on section 6. That's no great problem. His advantage still 9 marks. Oh, Steve! Oh, that's a naughty one. Is he allowed to put his foot down like that and pull it back? Well, not strictly in the rule books, but, you know, British hero and all that. Spanish motorcycle. I think it might get overlooked here in the Palais Saint-Jourdain. Oh, yes! Just urges it up. Well, Graham Samuels may have tuned this gas engine to have plenty of rev. Oh, and he's dropped another one there. Steve just a little bit untidy through the skips, but he gets out with the loss of 2 marks. That takes him to a total of 13 marks down so far. So he's the man in 3rd position who will be dropped early from this final. Because the race-offs at the end are just confined to 2 riders. The man who gets 3rd place on the podium doesn't go into the races. Salva telling Colomé how he is on time. And he neatly gets himself out. So a clean for Colomé in section 7. So he's recovered a bit. At least he's back into 2nd place. Oh, Dougie! What the body language that took to get up there. Let's not waste it. Great encouragement from his dad. Plenty of time, of course, means that he's right there at the end. Dougie Lampkin, clear leader, just 1 mark lost. Look at the effort, though, here. Just watch this. You know, the head's the heaviest part of our body. Look how Dougie uses his head to get him over there. His head and his thighs, wonderful. That was determination and very little else that got him across that initial entrance to that hazard. As we move into the crowd, into section 8, Steve Colley. Colley 5th in the World Outdoor Championship last year, 3rd indoors. The winner in Paris-Bercy, which is the last round of the World Cup this year, on the 11th of March. He was the winner there in 1999. He'd dearly like to repeat that victory again in the year 2000. Make it a hat-trick because he also won there in 1996. Wow, a main roading it. Well, he comes from the Isle of Man. Perhaps he's been practicing a bit of road racing. I know he likes his motocross. The motocross guys are terrified of him. He's so wild. Oh, beautiful. Lines himself up and makes the perfect exit to section 8. Steve Colley out. Total 13 down so far. Colomé. Those tense faces alongside him. 10 marks so far down. Ooh, he's not looking too comfortable though, is he? Salva getting ready to field him again. The clock's ticking as well. Oh, he's got very sideways. And he has to drop a very, very long left leg. He saves it remarkably. The clock's ticking and the points are going down. Well, Colomé, 25-year-old, trying to make up a bit of time now on the return route. It's not looking good. Oh, and he drops another foot. Ooh, hangs onto it. Three marks down, a total of 13. Now, he thought he'd got away with 2, but the observer's explaining it to him that they've handed him a 3 there. So that puts him level with Colley, and suddenly Colley Wobbles is right back in it. Dougie Lampkin, the clear leader. 13 marks each now to his opponents. Which one of them's going to race him at the end of the evening? Incidentally, talking about races, there was a wonderful interval entertainment here. Yeah, you can see glimpses of the dirt track around the outside here of this Palais Saint-Jordi, where we have the wonderful Barcelona Supercross every year in the autumn. Well, they had a race for enduro machines. There were about 4 Spaniards and 4 Italians hurtling round it on beautiful 4-stroke KTMs and Yamahas, thundering around. Great noise they made inside this stadium roof. Perhaps we ought to have noticed when an Italian won that perhaps it wasn't going to be the night for Spanish victories here in Barcelona. And right now, Martin Lampkin's focusing on getting Dougie through this. He's not worried about the clock. Going into the negative now means that Dougie Lampkin drops 1 mark on time going through Section 8, whereas that only makes a total of 2. I think he's got precious little to worry about.
With echter Nordhäuser.
The 4th round of the World Indoor Trials Cup. And here we are on Section 9, Steve Colley and the Gas now level pegging for 2nd place with Mark Colomé. The man from Onken in the Isle of Man clears Section 9 and falls over doing it, I think, but hopefully survives all right. So Colley, really the only man able to live with the factory Montesas this year. Oh, Colomé. Fair bit of body language to tease that Montesa up on top of the Fujifilm crates. Incidentally, these sections are built by Francis Tarras, the brother of 7 times World Trials champion Jordi Tarras. So if you wondered who could design and build something as brutal as these, that's the man who did it. So he must know what he's doing. Must have watched Jordi for long enough, both as a kid and as an adult. Now, Dougie Lampkin, apparently really enjoying the challenge of being on the new Montesa. The problem for the Lampkin family, of course, is that they're having to develop the bike as they go along. There's no way you can practice indoor trials riding. And the shore suspension still has a bit of work to be done on it yet, although you wouldn't necessarily guess that. Oh, plenty of time, says Martin. That means that Dougie will just about... Oh, no, he didn't waft for once. I was going to say he'll soar straight out of the end. But he's going to clean it, and he does. So 3 cleans, keeps everybody on tenterhooks through Section 9. And in the background, Steve Colley lining up to attempt Section 10. Lampkin looking more and more like his dad, who was, of course, world champion, the original World Trials champion in 1975, Honourable Taco. Colley. Paul Gamble looking fairly casual behind him. Come on, Paul, focus on the job in hand. Oh, Steve! Oh! And he got the timing of that wrong. And passive onlookers, Lampkin and Colomé. Look at that. Well, I don't know whether he got too much rebound or too much grip. The thing just took off skywards, and Colley had to use those long legs to rescue himself. Now, that is a classic case of the Colley wobbles, if you'll excuse me saying so, Steve, because that really does hand 2nd place surely to this man, although he's in trouble as well. Colomé drops a foot, but at least it's not a 5 so far. So he's now got a 4-mark advantage for that 2nd place over Steve Colley, because of course it matters in the long run. 20 points for a victory, 17 points for 2nd and 15 points for 3rd. It matters. It matters that he hangs on to 2nd place here in front of his home crowd. Ooh, and he just about tumbled sideways off that, didn't he? Wow, Dougie, it's not often you get complimented by the old blighter. Did you hear that? Good lad, well done. Having one mark down, Dougie Lampkin still on a tiny score compared to his rivals. Now, that is a big climb onto there. To hear Dougie giving it that many revs, that was a stiff step. Oh, and look at him, to the top. Lampkin, who won his first arena trial ever at Lille in France at the end of 1994-95 season, and in 1995, in fact, finished third in the FIM Indoor Prize. Behind, yes, you've guessed it, Mark Colomé. Up the high jump. Collie, clean. Just looks round and checks, and then waves goodbye, I would think, to the crowd, because he knows that he's not going to be competing in the races, despite cleaning the high jump. You lose a mark, of course, for each bar that you knock down. Next one up, Mark Colomé. Here he goes. And safely over. A total of 14. And the 2 races to come. Wow. The handlebars just about wrapping round his chin there. And here goes Lampkin. Oh, beautiful. Jeremy McGrath would have been proud of you, Dougie. Look how economical that was. McGrath never wastes height, and Dougie Lampkin, well, that was just perfection. Half a thou to spur as he went over the top. OK, we have 2 races to finish off. We have the 6'2", 12.5 stone Dougie Lampkin taking on the shorter and wirier Mark Colomé. Oh, look at this. Martin and Dougie treating it like a baby, carrying the Montesa across the dirt, so they have clean tyres to start off across the pipes. Here we go then. Whatever you do, boys, don't crash off, because that costs you 5 marks. Oh, and that's what Dougie's done straight away. And Colomé's followed suit. Oh, what a pair. Well, I've never seen that happen before, so neither of them finished the race. They both dock themselves 5 marks each. Well, I'm amazed, boys. Colomé, if only he'd known that Dougie wasn't there, could have just steadied down a bit. Right, let's see if they can both survive the last run of the night. They've got to turn down and go back. Oh, Colomé's completely goosed his turn, and in fact, he's 5'd again. So Lampkin jumps all on his own at the end. And our cameraman's so startled, he doesn't even catch it on film. So, a dramatic, if somewhat unusual, climax here in Barcelona. Mark Colomé in all sorts of bother. That'll be 100 lines from Salvador Garcia later. And that means that Dougie Lampkin's taken a clear win, a convincing win here in Barcelona to topple Mark Colomé. Steve Colley 3rd, Fujinami 4th, Graham Jarvis, a doubtless disappointed 5th, and his teamster at Bultaco, David Cobos, in 6th place. Steve Colley failing to melt the hearts of the stone-faced Spanish girls, finishes 3rd. Mark Colomé finishes 2nd, and Dougie Lampkin, Radson Radiators Montesa Honda, finishes in 1st place with a performance typified by that sort of precision. So the number 1 on his back indicates that Dougie Lampkin has extended his lead in the World Championship. He's now got a 10-point advantage over Colomé, and he certainly is riding at the peak of his form on the Montesa Honda. Now, the next 2 rounds at Bremen and Lisbon actually take place on successive evenings, will you believe? So then we'll see Dougie Lampkin riding his number 2 bike in Germany, while his number 1 bike awaits him in Portugal. Don't know whether that'll make any difference to his efforts. It'll be interesting to find out. Dougie Lampkin then, 10 points clear of Mark Colomé. Colley still hanging in there with the possibility of 2nd place in the championship, or even better. Jarvis now dropped off the pace a bit on 48. And it's bye-bye from Barcelona, and myself, Jack Bernicle. Don't miss the next thrilling round of the World Indoor Trials Championship here on Eurosport.
Yaw's cooler